Princess Fukang went from being the eldest princess who was pampered and favored to her tragic death, after being emotionally and physically abused by her concubine. Princess Fukang, the daughter of Emperor Renzong and his honored consort Miao. She got her title in 1038, shortly after she was born. Sadly, it would soon prove to be a curse. Princess Fukang had an amazing relationship with her father. Since she was his oldest daughter to survive adulthood among the other 5, she was lavishly spoiled by her father. He would fulfill all her wishes without blinking twice, incomparable to other princesses. The princess did not adore her father any less. A couple of times, when the emperor became ill, she prayed for his life in exchange for her own. Seeing her father sick was one of her miseries that shattered her heart. Fukang was a clever and lovable child since she was a child. Despite her father's undying praises and favors, she never felt superior to anyone. Instead, she was courteous and understanding towards other people. Having grown up in the meticulous care of a loving father, Princess Fukang never doubted her future. Yet, despite gaining a reputable character in the Chinese history of emperors, Renzong seemingly failed as a father. It is more like a curse of being born into the royal family that none can escape its interwoven strings of politics and promises. Therefore, Princess Fukang was also caught in a situation that deprived her of her most fundamental right, choosing her marriage partner. While Renzong was still unwilling to marry off his beloved daughter, he felt compelled to do so when guilt gripped his heart. Unfortunately, Renzong remained unaware of his biological mother until after she died. As a result, he blamed himself for not serving her and leaving her to die alone. Consequently, he felt obliged, surrounded by remorse, to repay his maternal biological family. Surprisingly, Emperor Renzong could only think of doing so by marrying his most tended daughter to his uncle's son, Li Wei. While Li Wei was gifted artistically and possessed great talent, Princess Fukang was not drawn to him. Instead, she found his personality mediocre. Nevertheless, she could not persuade her father. Eventually, in 1056, Princess Fukang was officially wedded to Li Wei. Even though it was a marriage against her will, Emperor Renzong gave Princess Fukang a lavish dowry which consisted of 800 acres of land, 3 estates, 2 servants, 4 cooks, and 10 slaves. Since this was the first marriage to be canonized, it received massive opposition. But the emperor did not bother listening to what others had to say. He only hoped for a fruitful marriage life for his beloved princess while repaying his mother's family. Li Wei was promoted to a military position, while previously, he was only a poor man. Yet, he showed no affection to his newly wedded wife. These changes annoyed the princess. She was brought up as a modest girl, and her in-laws, who had newly become prosperous, had no adoration for her. Princess Fukang and Li Wei did not get along right from the beginning of their marriage. They often fought and argued. Life, as a married woman, for Princess Fukang was unbearable every day. During her troubled days, her only comfort was the eunuch, Liang Huaiji, who had accompanied her to the mansion. Instead of bonding with her husband and in-laws, she often spent more time with her helpers. Meanwhile, Liang Huaiji and the princess became best friends. Princess Fukang frequently noticed her mother-in-law invading her privacy. One day, Princess Fukang was drinking wine with the eunuch, Liang Huaiji. Her mother-in-law became suspicious and spied on the two of them drinking together. When the princess caught her mother-in-law watching her drink with Liang Huaiji, she was so angry that she beat up her mother-in-law. To the princess, this demeanor was unfamiliar as well as entirely intolerable. From being a child showered with tenderness and respect, living a restricted life became intensely challenging. Hence, once in the darkness of night, Princess Fukang fled the mansion to seek refuge in her father's palace. It was prohibited to enter the palace after it was closed at night during those times. Hence, this action of the princess angered many ministers at court. They complained to the emperor, who had no choice but to ascertain that his rules were the same for his princess and ordinary people. The mother-in-law went ahead to report the incident to Emperor Renzong. The emperor judged his daughter and the eunuch to be in the wrong. He ordered Liang Huaji to leave Princess Fukang's household. Princess Fukang was so upset that her father expelled Liang Huaji that she became hysterical. She threatened to kill herself. Emperor Renzong finally gave way and let Liang Huaji into her household again. Over time, the relationship between the detached couple grew worse to the point of divorce. Princess Fukang tried to end her marriage to Li Wei. She sent servants to spy on Li Wei to find anything incriminating to report to her father. When her servants failed to find any incriminating evidence, Princess Fukang began to make up false accusations about him that eventually reached her father's ears. Emperor Renzong realized that he had no choice but to intervene. He pondered on the next step. Princess Fukang's mother, Honored Consort Miao, believed her husband should end the marriage. However, Empress Cao reminded him to respect his late mother's memory. Emperor Renzong decided not to end the marriage but to separate the couple for some time. He hoped that the distance would remedy their marriage. Little did he know, terrible things in her daughter's life would soon unfold. Emperor Renzong confined Princess Fukang to her mansion. He expelled Princess Fukang's mother-in-law from the princess's mansion and forced her to live with one of her other sons. He exiled Liang Huaji to guard the imperial tomb and dismissed the princess's servants. Emperor Renzong thought his decisions would rectify the situation, but it was far from the case. When Li Wei finally returned home, Princess Fukang accused him of embezzling grain and begged Emperor Renzong to recall Liang Huaji from exile. Emperor Renzong accepted to exile Li Wei again. He recalled Liang Huaji from exile, but he did not send him to work in the princess's household. Tensions came to a head when Li Wei's brother officially petitioned for a divorce between Princess Fukang and Li Wei. Emperor Renzong's advisor, Sima Guang, asked for Li Wei to be recalled back from exile to discuss the divorce petition. Sima Guang demanded that Princess Fukang should be punished for her unacceptable behavior towards her husband. He granted the divorce between Li Wei and Princess Fukang. To make up for his daughter's actions against her husband, he compensated Li Wei with 200 taels of gold. Emperor Renzong felt uneasy about the divorce between Princess Fukang and Li Wei. He believed that he failed to show filial piety to his mother's family. Therefore, he reversed his order of divorce. He remarried Princess Fukang and Li Wei. He sent Princess Fukang back to her mansion to live with Li Wei. Only a few months later, Emperor Renzong died of an illness, leaving her daughter behind to a wretched life, gradually choking her every day. He was succeeded by Emperor Renzong. Emperor Renzong died on the 25th of January 1067, and he was succeeded by his eldest son, Emperor Shenzong. Meanwhile, everything appeared to be fine in Princess Fukang's cursed mansion until startling news emerged one day. At only 33 years of age, the renowned princess passed away suddenly. Emperor Shenzong was so suspicious of Fukang's sudden death that he immediately paid a visit to her mansion. He was shocked to learn of Princess Fukang's poor living conditions while she was alive. He learned that Li Wei did not care for his wife. He did not give her any food, clothes, or medical treatment. Princess Fukang's bedding and clothes were covered with lice. She did not have anyone to make her fire to warm up her room during the winter season. One day in winter, she was so cold that she tried to make a fire herself but ended up accidentally burning her face. When Emperor Shenzong learned of the sufferings that Princess Fukang had endured, he was angry with the way Li Wei treated his wife. He believed that Li Wei had neglected and abused her. The poor living conditions in her room and the fact that he did not give her any medical treatment were strong evidence that Princess Fukang died of Li Wei's abuse. These shocking revelations angered Emperor Renzong. He accused Li Wei and his family of what happened to the princess and as a punishment, demoted him to a regiment trainer. However, he was later pardoned and permitted to serve as a military governor. Princess Fukang went from being the eldest princess who was pampered and favored to her tragic death after being abused by her concubine. Emperor Renzong was so moved by Princess Fukang's death that he decided to honor her. He gave her the posthumous name of Zhongxiao. This name recognized Princess Fukang's filial devotion to her father. Emperor Renzong also promoted Fukang to Princess Supreme of Qin State. Two of Emperor Renzong's successors also felt sorry for Princess Fukang and also promoted her status. Princess Fukang was the favorite daughter of Emperor Renzong. However, she suffered from an unhappy marriage. Her cause of death is officially unknown. Some historians believe that Princess Fukang died of depression. Other historians believe that she died because she had gone mad. Yet, most historians believe that Princess Fukang died of neglect and abuse from her husband. What is clear is that Emperor Renzong had sacrificed his beloved daughter to try to appease his guilt. Princess Fukang had paid the price of her father's actions through her sufferings and life. It is because of the sacrifices she had made for her father that moved the hearts of later Song emperors. Princess Fukang's story continues to be one of China's most tragic and compelling mysteries, because it tells the story of how a princess sacrificed her personal happiness to fulfill her father's ambitions. What would have changed for Princess Fukang if she was not forced into a relationship she despised, not once but twice?